Folks, welcome in tonight to the latest edition of the Late Night on Campus. I'll be your host tonight, Donnie Rightside, with my partner in crime over there, the big man on campus. Got a lot to go over today, including Major League Baseball. No NHL tonight, but we do have NBA. I have them on both of my screens here watching as these games come down. We also have a game tipping off a little bit later tonight that we can talk about as well. A lot going on, big man. Under 48 hours to the NFL draft. Big man, how we doing tonight?
Doing great. Yourself, Donnie? Always, we're kind of on the eve of the draft, the eve of the draft, I should say. Yeah, exciting times. I heard it's basically for NFL fans, it's like Christmas. So, yeah, draft's always fun. It's kind of a nice, pushing college into the NFL ranks. It's a nice mix of both. So, yeah, always fun. We're going to get into it later in the show. We're going to go through picks, kind of like a little mock draft, right side on campus style. We'll go through 1 through 16, Donnie. We'll take care of 16 to 32 tomorrow. So we'll hit each of your favorite teams, kind of give our opinion on what we think will happen. But it's first thing first, Donnie. Baseball, a little NBA. What do you got going on tonight?
Yeah, no, you're breaking up there a little bit. Yeah, no, I got the gist of it there. A lot of exciting stuff going on that we're going to share with the people. Also, we would like to tell you we're typically not on Thursday night. But Jeff, as you know as well as I do, we will be on this Thursday after the 10th pick in the draft, and we'll stay on for a couple of picks there to make sure we can recap the first round, some trades that might be going on, some interesting stuff. So a lot of good stuff on the horizon for us. But, yeah, we're very excited for the draft here in Philadelphia. No question about it.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We'll be on plenty during the draft. You hear me coming through good?
I got you now, buddy.
Okay, good. Yeah, looking forward to it. So we'll be on tomorrow, obviously, and then Thursday, a special show during the draft.
Yeah, no, going to be a lot of fun. Let's dip right into the card tonight. We'll go over the usual. We'll update some things in Major League Baseball. Take a look tomorrow at some baseball. Even though we won't cap it, there is some early action going on. NBA card tonight. And, of course, we're going to have the Late Night on Campus, what we always like to do with Baffle the Big Man. On Twitter, folks, again, give us a follow at SBR Sports Picks. Always check out SBRodds.com. And also, again, in the bottom left-hand corner, if you are watching the show, obviously through YouTube, give us a subscribe there to SBR Sportsbook Review. Growing each and every day. 28,223 so far, so it looks like it's climbing up even from yesterday. Hello to everybody there on the chat box that we're looking at. Any questions you have that come up, any comments, just hit us up. We'd more than love to talk to you about it. But let's get over some of the baseball cards tonight, Jeff. Games, a lot postponed, which when we talked on the right side of campus earlier today, Jeff, weather's really impacted the East Coast here tonight.
Yeah, it has, and I kind of figured it would. I mean, obviously you have New York; they get postponed. The Mets, the Boston Red Sox, and Yankees, they get postponed. Phillies, I had a real feeling it wouldn't be much chance they would play tonight around here. Did get a game in Baltimore, but yeah, a lot of games rained out. So not surprising though. I think we kind of knew that.
Yeah, most of those games bumped back. If we take a look earlier, Pittsburgh and Chicago, pitchers duel 1-0 final there. Cole was great. Hendricks was great. So just a matter of scratching out a run. But it looks like that game ended up, a total of 7.5, and that one didn't even come close. Houston and Cleveland was a really good battle. Keuchel was fantastic today, getting the complete game. Looked a little hairy there in the ninth, which again, Jeff, like it always is, it's usually never an easy one, especially against a good team like Cleveland. They did hit a solo blast in the ninth inning, put a runner on base. Kipnis was up, but Keuchel really bore down in that situation. Got a nice play by Carlos Correa to end the game on a diving stop at shortstop, so that goes 4-2. I know, Jeff, you were hot and heavy on that Houston game, and that worked out just the way you thought it would.
Yeah, the Astros weren't particularly good offensively, but they did enough to score some runs. They kind of did some little things. I want to bring someone up, Donnie, and he's been with a lot of teams, and he's a guy that I would love to have on my team. Norichi Aoki, a guy that just doesn't strike out, just great at bats. He had a big double today for the Houston Astros. Yeah, Keuchel was great. I mean, complete game, 6 hits. I was a little concerned of why they had him in the ninth inning after that home run, but he did his job. And you look at Houston, Donnie, second best record in baseball right now. Tied, I believe, with the Baltimore Orioles. So, yeah, I mean, looking really good and starting to win a lot of games here, and they're going to keep doing that.
Yeah, coming on strong. How about a pitcher's duel down there in Baltimore tonight? Wade Miley having a good year. Obviously, didn't give up too much in that one. Rookie starts for Tampa Bay to get the 2-0 win in Baltimore, which was kind of surprising to a lot of people. Total closed there around 8, and that was a heavy favorite there for Baltimore. So surprising shocker, Tampa Bay getting the road win, which we know Tampa hasn't been very good. And on the flip side, Baltimore has been very good at home.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Donnie, they have. And, Wade Miley, who really wasn't bad. I mean, he only gave up 2 runs.
Yep.
Weird game here. I mean, Rasimer Ramirez scratched for some reason. Not sure why. I've looked it up, try to find some things, and they basically just said because of the weather, which is kind of interesting. But you look at that group of pitchers that came in. I mean, you're basically the whole game with with the Tampa Bay's bullpen.
Yep.
Pruitt gives you 3 innings. Got 3 innings from Whitley, Jumbo Diaz. I mean, there was a collection of people tonight for Tampa Bay, and Baltimore has 2 hits. Really weird game. Orioles, you would think, would have had a big night from the plate, but like the weather, they just didn't. I don't think they really felt it tonight. Not a good performance from the Orioles, and a pretty good performance from Miley, wasted in this one. So, I take 2 out of 3 with the Orioles in this series. That'll work just fine by me.
Yeah, no question about it. Getting to some of the live games, there's 2 games that haven't started yet, the Dodgers in San Francisco and Oakland and the Los Angeles Angels. If we take a look, Cincinnati being shut out by one Zach Davies, 9-0, Jeff. And a particular player, again, went deep tonight with Eric Thames. Stay hot. I mean, is that all you have to say? Hashtag stay hot with that guy. My goodness.
Yeah, Eric Thames, 11 home runs. 8 have come against the Cincinnati Reds. I don't know what the word is, teabagging, I guess, the Cincinnati Reds. But how about Zach Davies? I mean, Davies has been really good in this game. Hasn't given up a run. Just cruising, really. He just came out of the game. Tommy Malone now in. But, yeah, this Milwaukee team, I mentioned today on the show earlier, this was one of the games where I really it was a coin flip to me. But Milwaukee continues to stay hot. Really nice performance tonight again from them. And what do you need to do for Thames? Do you need to how do you cool him off? I mean, he's just,
I don't know. There's got to be a book on the guy. Got to be something starting out, because it's absurd at the rate he's hitting right now. I mean, just every single night he's a terror, which is fantastic to watch, because you love those good stories right out of the gate. How long can it continue? We don't know, but I mean, he's on his way to making an all-star team. No question about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, he's hot right now. Will it continue? Of course it can continue, but it's at some point he's going to regress a little bit. Is he going to get 40? I have no idea. He'll get 20, put it that way.
Yeah.
But I don't know about 40. Obviously, if he keeps up on this little stunt, he's going to get 60. But, yeah, really nice performance again from the Brewers tonight. Talk about a pitcher's duel, Donnie. The Chicago Cubs and the Pittsburgh Pirates, which, I kind of had a feeling Garrett Cole would pitch well tonight, and he did. I mean, he was really, really good. Kyle Hendricks was just as good. The only run, Donnie, was unearned. It came on an error in the 2nd inning. So Cole, 7 innings, doesn't give up a run. And that's all the Cubs needed. A really, really good pitcher's duel, if you like those kind of games. This was not an offensive type of explosion. Obviously, seeing the score, another tough loss for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're now 8-12. Wasted a good outing from Garrett Cole here.
Yeah, even taking a look at some other options here, Jeff. One, which we talked about, which is a double-edged sword. Had King Felix on the mound, which he's not the same pitcher, but still draws that type of attention from a lot of gamblers out there. 16-6 right now. Detroit is over Seattle. They just can't win on the road. They just can't put it together. It's one of those teams where, is it even worth it when you come down the line? I mean, you have a little bit older pieces. Robbie Cano, do you move him at the deadline? Because his contract is enormous. I don't even know what you would get back or who would even be a buyer in that type of situation, but it's not working in Seattle. But we sort of saw this coming this year, didn't we?
Donnie, it's interesting you say that. Back probably in February, maybe even March, early March, I did a video with Drew Martin and Matt Tessaro. We went over the AL West, and I made it perfectly clear that the Seattle Mariners wouldn't do jack shit this year because of bad contracts that Jerry DiPoto made for this team. They didn't address anything during the offseason. They didn't really get anyone worth talking about other than Gene Segura. As far as their rotation, other than Paxton, what do you really have in that rotation anymore? I mean, Felix is over the hill. You got rid of Taiwan Walker. Their bullpen was really poor. Just a bad team, Seattle. And it's not going to get any easier for them because they have big contracts that are just haven't really worked for them. I mean, Cano's been a nice professional. Is he worth that kind of money? I don't think. Not at this point. And yeah, look, they're going to struggle. That's a tough division. And you look at their numbers. I mean, they're 2-10 on the road now. Just if you're laying 135, I don't know what else to tell you. It doesn't matter that Felix didn't pitch very long or their bullpen sucked. Yeah. You shouldn't be laying 130 with them on the road. You look at tonight, Donnie, 12 runs in the 4th and 5th inning combined for the Detroit Tigers. I mentioned tonight, for me, it was Detroit or nothing. There was no way I'm laying that price on the road with Seattle.
Yeah, no, one would agree as well. Another game that we took a look at today on the right side of campus, Jeff, Minnesota and Texas. No surprise here, Cashner and the Texas Rangers getting blown up at this one, 8-1. But not a surprise has been the start for Santana. Another clean, crisp game so far in the top of the 6th inning. As I said, it's 8-1. Great start to the season. Finally getting maybe a little bit of buyback in his way because it opened up -105. About to pick him there, closed at -113. But Santana been every bit as good as anybody in Major League Baseball to start the season here.
Yeah, Irvin Santana has been really good. And, you look at it's funny, Donnie. I played the no-score first inning in this game. Something I never do. It was +105, but I felt like I figured Santana would be fine. I was just kind of worried about Cashner. And first guy gets on, and I'm thinking, here we go with this crap. And I wiggled out of a jam there and got the job done. But I was saying to myself, my God, I can't wait that I don't have to back this game at all after this inning. It's like I'm off of it, whatever. But yeah, I thought Minnesota was a good play in this game. I don't think Texas is any good. I just don't. Too many moving pieces, too many variables with this team, too many unknowns. Minnesota playing well tonight. Nice big inning in the 5th inning for them. 7 runs against that collection of stiffs and that Texas bullpen.
Yeah, next game up on the docket is one I do have a free play out on, which is hovering right now, to say the least. I did take Kansas City tonight on a team total over 4.5. It's in the 5th inning. They only have 2 runs, but no surprise here. I should say, only 2 runs so far for KC. We'll see if they can get it up, but I thought they would touch up. I can't even remember what to slip on. Dylan Covey, earlier in this game. 2 runs through 4 innings. He's already out of the game, so going to be bullpen the rest of the way. The only good thing is that the White Sox do have 6 runs, so maybe Kansas City can press and maybe steal a run or 2 late in the game if it gets out of hand.
What's the team total, Donnie?
Team total is 4.5, Jeff, for Kansas City.
I mean, you got 4 at bats at least. Donnie, here's the problem with Kansas City. Their 6 through 9 hitters are horrible.
They're terrible. They're terrible. Yeah.
They may be the worst bottom 4 in the major leagues. Yeah, you look at tonight, 0 for 8. Just a horrible group. You add that in with Hosmer, 170 average, just a dredge team right now. But yeah, Covey had to figure would give some runs up. I'm rooting for you, man. We'll see how it goes.
I like the contrarian value on it because when I broke down the game and did the stats, I mean, Kansas City has only reached 4 runs or more 4 times on the season. And if Vegas is going to hang a 4.5 out there, I was thinking I'm going to bite on that because I do like to look for that alternative value. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, bullpens are going to come in. Hopefully, the one thing I would like to see is the White Sox to maybe tack on 1 or 2 more runs, even if it gets like an 8-3, because then you're looking at, defensive indifference comes into play in a couple situations. So you might be able to steal one, but we'll see what happens as it goes here. And
keep in mind, Dog Raymond, my job is to do that. This is my job. My job is to analyze teams right now. My job isn't to worry about teams in July. When July comes, I'll worry about them. Right now, Seattle and Texas are bad baseball teams.
We wouldn't have much of a show. We should, we'd only have one show at the end of the year and just wrap up the whole season.
That's what my job is. I mean, but I think from what I've said so far, it's come to fruition pretty good. If you look at everything I've said. Again, that's the job that we're told to do.
Can only talk about what we see. So next game up on the docket here, Jeff, Toronto and St. Louis, 3-2 in the top of the 7th. That was Estrada and Waka. One of those games we talked about earlier as well, Jeff, just one of the coin flip. I didn't find much value in the total in that situation. I certainly didn't find any value in betting -150 on St. Louis at home, even though how bad Toronto is. I didn't have a great read on that game, and it looks like it's going to come right down to the wire as one would have thought.
Yeah, Kevin Pillar just took the lead for Toronto with a triple. Nice job by him. But yeah, kind of a low-scoring game. Two pretty good pitchers. Now you got to make the way to the bullpen here. We'll see what happens, but definitely a game that I think not many people are too interested in, Donnie, right now. Question I have for you, Donnie. We have two more innings here in Seattle, Detroit. We all know how bad Detroit's bullpen is. It would be crazy to think they don't come back, right?
Yeah. Only down 10 runs. I mean, that's just about on the edge of what you like to look for, right?
What analytic numbers do you guys put the most weight in? None.
I mean, I don't know about analytic type numbers, but I like weighted on base,
Sure.
stuff like the weighted on base average, stuff like that. I mean, I don't like to, if you get into too much of that stuff, I like to take a little bit of indicators, but also it's a lot of feel that goes into it. I don't strictly go by the numbers. I like to read, where the public is betting and then meld it with some of my numbers that I like to use. But I always caution people not to get too caught up on stats, because when you do that, you find yourself trying to find different things each and every night. Stick to what works. Formulas work one year, don't work the next. So just find that happy medium that you like to use. But there are a few advanced metrics that I do like that have come into play, as opposed to just using batting average or ERA. Of course, there's a lot more that goes into it. But to say I had a favorite one, I mean, I look at everything.
I mean, I'm pretty whip opponent batting average for pitchers. Yeah. I mean, I don't get into like WABA and all that sort of crap.
I like the WOBA, and that's one of the ones I started using last year. Did pretty good with that, because I just like a weighted on base percentage. I can take a look at how meaningful the at bats are, especially in the first 5 innings, because you can take a look at a pitcher's stats versus the hitter's stats and sort of get a good idea of what they're.
You know what, Donnie? What we should do? Yep. You know, it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, what's up?
Pick one of our listeners, and we should get them to write down 5 things they think will happen long term in baseball. And then I'll write down my 5 things, and we'll see at the end of the year. How about we do that, dog? Why don't you email me the 5 things you think will happen? We'll just pick 5. You pick whatever you want. Pick,
and it doesn't have to be super sharp or like,
right. Like you think, you think Boston will win the AL East. So you think, you'll give your 5 and I'll give my 5. Let's just see how we do at the end of the year. It'll be fun. You email me. We'll get that going just to see how it goes.
Head out to Colorado there, Jeff. Yeah. Washington, Colorado, 4-0 now.
Yeah.
Nice start there for Ross. Marquez getting that first start. You didn't really know what to expect in that situation. I know Bryce Harper got it going early. So, again, it's Coors. It's the 2nd inning. 4 runs doesn't mean that much. So we'll see how that one closes down the line. But definitely a good start for Washington backers in that one.
Yeah. No, we're having fun here. People get so riled up. This is what makes this fun, doesn't it? Isn't this what makes it fun?
Yep. Go back and forth. Avenues, what you like to look at.
Everyone's always big man's getting all defensive. We're having fun here. It's fun going back and forth. We go, it's all about fun, We'll have some fun and send them in. Get in touch with me, dog. I don't know if you have Twitter or whatever. Email me and we'll get something going here. But yeah, sorry, Donnie. You mentioned the Nationals Rockies. Yeah.
Yeah, 4-0 early in that one. I mean, I didn't know what to expect from Marquez. It's one of those situations, Jeff, which I don't like to delve into too much. I don't know about your capping style, but I always get nervous when a guy's going to make his first start of the year, first career start, and just to sit back and wait on, because it's very easy just to take the opposite team, which if you did tonight with Washington, it's a good start. But I always like to look at numbers once I have a balance sheet to go off of. So
yeah, I mean, in Coors, I'm much more enticed to play overs and things like that with pitchers like Marquez. Marquez did pitch last year, but again, I mentioned earlier on the show, not very good numbers wise. Yeah. I took the over again in this game. I got 10.5 actually. So we'll see how it goes. Nice start, I guess you could say. And we'll see. I also took Oakland, which. We'll see how that goes. I just kind of like the pitching matchup there. Hahn has been very good. Ramirez, I didn't really get why he was a favorite. I guess just because they're at home. Then you got Dodgers, Giants just getting underway out in AT&T Park. Somebody mentioned in the chat a little bit earlier, Kershaw was a lock. Normally he is, but keep in mind that Blatch, the kid pitching for the Giants, really looked good, especially last year. So, interesting night. Couple games postponed here in MLB, but definitely some money that was made here as well. So we'll see how it goes. We'll update throughout the show, Donnie. Let's kind of speed this up a little bit. I'm excited to talk about the draft. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, we're going to get there. Looks like, on the board, early game started. Arizona 1-0 over San Diego. I believe Goldschmidt hit a blast in that game. And Oakland with Hahn versus the Angels and Ramirez 0-0 in that one. So we'll watch some of these games as they filter out throughout the night. But I would be remiss, Jeff, if we didn't get to the NBA, because this game is cooking right now. Houston 90-87 right now with OKC in the fourth quarter about 7 minutes ago. We talked about it today, -7.5, over under 223.5. It looks like the over is going to need a little bit of help here to get there, but certainly that number is right in play if you were taking either side with Houston or OKC at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about it. For me, look, you knew Russell Westbrook was going to throw the kitchen sink at this game and try to do whatever he could. I mean, 7 minutes left. He's got 40 points. So 50 points is in his arsenal here. Yeah, I mean, you look at everyone else. I mean, 3 double-figure scorers, and they have 10 points other than Russell Westbrook. So, look, he's giving it his all. They're only down 3. This should be a war to the end. We all know Russell will give his all. A great season, fun to watch. We mentioned last night a guy you just have to watch. He's a guy normally that if he's on, I'll sit down and watch it. He's an electrifying player. But, yeah, should be a good end to the night. Westbrook, a guy that I like to root for. I think he's a warrior, man. Really is.
Next game up there, actually going on right now at halftime, 55-49, San Antonio Spurs, Memphis Grizzlies. Looks like some halftime numbers coming out, -4 for San Antonio and over-under of 92.5. So definitely a San Antonio Spurs line at the half, being up 6 already and being a -4, looking to take that 3-2 lead. I believe that game closed double digits, Jeff. I don't see the final number up there, but I know it was hovering around that 10-point range.
Yeah, you're pretty much betting the original number. It was 10.5. It closed at. So you basically need them to cover the spread to hit your second half bet. So if you like San Antonio, you might as well get on them at halftime. Then everyone will win. As far as the play in that game for me, numbers would have said under. Looked like the public bet the over a little bit. I didn't play the game, but Memphis was kind of looking good early, but San Antonio at home, I think they're going to get control here in the second half. I'm actually going to put a play in if I can before this one starts. I'm going to play the second half, I think, here.
And that last game on the docket, too, Utah Jazz, Los Angeles Clippers. That line hasn't moved since we had the rights out of campus today, Jeff, at 12:30 early in the day. Still hanging around at -3. It looks like the over-under has dipped down a little bit there to 195.5 in some spots with SBRodds.com. So that's an interesting game I want to keep my eye on. Of course, everybody knows that I don't cap the NBA. Jeff, I know you're much more in tune here. Gordon Hayward, thoughts or is he fine tonight? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I think he's good to go. I mean, obviously in the NBA, in any sport, in a professional sport, you're going to get the best care. He's good to go. And obviously with Gobert back, that adds another dimension, to that team. I mentioned it. I like Utah. I like them tonight. I think they get the job done. By the way, I just did bet San Antonio for the second half, -4. Okay. So let's hope they kind of pull away here and kind of take control of the series. But yeah, that Jazz number has not moved, Donnie. It's really just sat at 3. I actually took the money line, Donnie, plus 140. So I'm going to rock with it, see how it goes. I like this Jazz team.
Yeah, Jeff, by the way, I know you mentioned earlier you had the over 10.5 and 7 runs in the second inning combined so far in that game. Washington, Colorado, 7-0. So looking good there, big man. Right. Bottom of the second, also in Arizona. They just keep on hitting. It's 3-0 now as they're getting to Richard earlier there. So we'll see how Corbin finishes that up.
After last night, don't count that a winner to the foul.
That is a hitter's ballpark, to say the least.
Plus, that bullpen is bad. By the way. So we'll see how it goes. We'll update that throughout the night. We'll update the NBA as well. But, Donnie, the time has come to start our NFL draft preview, which, I think most of, the listeners haven't heard us talk NFL. We've started the show. All of our shows kind of right up with basketball started with college basketball. And, I've done college football videos in SBR, but I was never a big NFL person on SBR just because I have other sports that I'm looking at and other things. So what we decided, we're going to go through the draft 1 through 16 tonight, 16 through 32 tomorrow. I'll give my picks that I made, who I think the teams are going to go with. Hopefully we can kind of help you, maybe, for your favorite team. Plenty of people in different parts of the United States, and just kind of chat about what we think the teams need and where we think they're going to go. So
Yeah.
What's your overall feeling? You love the draft, right?
I love the draft because especially when it's one of those drafts where, it's hard if your team is a very good team, New England Patriots, and you're drafting, 27,
Right.
28, 29. But if you have a top 20 pick, you can see that board and you can get a feel for who's there. The picks coming up, you get excited. And the thing I do like about the draft is instant feedback. As soon as your team makes a, pick, let's just say it's a top 10 at number 9, you either get 50% of Twitter loved it and 50% of Twitter typically hated the pick. So I always like it, and I have very strong feelings of what the Eagles should do at 14 this year, which we'll go over in just a few moments there as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll start at number 1. This one's obviously, I think, going to be pretty easy.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to spend a lot of time. One thing I will say about the Cleveland Browns, 6 picks in the first 65 picks. So definitely a lot of bullets in their gun here. They will definitely be firing. They will definitely be looking to obviously, hopefully, finally improve their team. I mean, hopefully. This team has obviously struggled for a long period of time. Myles Garrett, Donnie, we both agree, going to go number 1. If you watched him at Texas A&M, an electrifying edge rusher, something they sorely need. I would say if it's my decision, I would probably go quarterback. They need a quarterback, but this draft just isn't stocked with really, really great quarterbacks. It's Myles Garrett here, right?
It has to be Myles Garrett because you want to take the most explosive. The hardest thing to find a lot of the times, obviously, is going to be quarterback. And the worst thing you can do when you have a top pick like that, Jeff, we all know, is to reach for a quarterback. So edge rusher, dominant, defensive player, that's what you go for. When the measurables are off the chart, the hardest thing to do on defense, Jeff, is find sacks out there. And this guy can provide it. And the easiest thing to do, is we see every single year, Jeff, that I always have an issue with, is instead of looking to see how powerful or how good the player actually is, you always look to knock him down. Well, he's not that smart, and I popped on the tape, and he took some plays off there. You can't play hard on every single play. I get that, but you have to take the talent when it's there.
Exactly. And he's a guy that will change the face of your defense. He will change the face of what you do on defense. Yeah, he's the best player in the draft, obviously, and he's from that area. That's a nice thing as well. He's a guy you have to take, and I think they will at number 1. As far as that bet, minus 750 that they're going to take him, so obviously not any value in doing that. But I guess if you want a parlay piece for a big parlay, it's probably pretty safe. Number 2, San Francisco 49ers, which pretty popular team, Donnie. I mean, a lot of people like the 49ers. I know even around where I live, plenty of 49er fans.
You got front runner fans from the 80s and early 90s there that just hang around. Yeah.
Steve Young, Jerry Rice, of course, Bill Walsh. For me, Donnie, I might surprise some people here, but listen, they need a quarterback. I don't know. I know people say they're going to go with Solomon Thomas or someone else, but Brian Hoyer's not a quarterback. He's a backup. We all know it. They do have some weapons. I mean, I think we can agree with that. I mean, Carlos Hyde and, Garcon they brought over, Bruce Ellington, Marcus Gordon. They have some guys. They have some people to get excited about. But they have no one to throw the football to. Obviously, that offense, in the past has had a Colin Kaepernick, a guy that can kind of run it. But when was the last time they've had a quarterback, Donnie?
Yeah.
Steve Young?
And the problem with it there is and I still have a thing against Mitchell Trubisky just because
I think
his name from Mitch. It just still pisses me off. But I get it there, but it's always the worst. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a football team. We all get that in the NFL. But I can't stand the fact that, I don't know how good Trubisky is going to be. And it's one of those situations where the 49ers need so much that maybe you trade out of that spot, pick up a couple picks. You need defense, you need offensive playmakers, you need a lot there. Or do you just stake it with Trubisky at 2 and say, we're going to live and die with this guy? Because if that's the wrong decision, it's a wrap.
But and then again, though, you're right. But the problem is they have so many glaring problems. It's like, where do you really look? I mean, I don't think defensively they still have a little bit up front. They're not going to take a cornerback. They're not going to take a safety. Yeah. I think Mitch Trubisky's the pick here. I think he's a guy that can be an NFL quarterback. I think he'd be a pretty good NFL quarterback. He's got the arm. He's got, he was a great college quarterback. I don't have a ton on him. I'm not in love with him. Obviously, this draft isn't flush with a ton of quarterback prospects, but I think they finally need to take a stab here, go with the quarterback, a guy that can start right away. I think Mitch Trubisky's the guy for them at 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue it in that situation. It's definitely a riskier pick than a lot that is actually on the board at that point. But I mean, quarterback is always going to be taken as a premium, whether they deserve to be there or not. So
just because you need a quarterback doesn't mean you have to take one if you don't feel he's a franchise guy, have other holes to fill. Yeah, it is a deep draft. That's Ryan, by the way, Donnie, big D there. Yeah, but yeah, I hear you, Ryan. I just think, and again, this could be Solomon Thomas here for sure, but I don't know. We'll see. This is definitely a tough pick here. I had kind of some tough trouble making this pick, but we'll see where they go. 3, Chicago Bears. Another team. By the way, I see some Ed Fang talk. I'm working on getting Ed Fang on the show tomorrow night to maybe talk a little bit NFL draft. He does do a lot of draft stuff, so we'll work on doing that.
Does he? Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Is there analytics that you can put into the draft?
I believe so, yeah. So I'm trying to get him on. Obviously, he has a young child, so it might be a tough time for him, but we'll see how it goes. Chicago Bears, Vic Fangio on the defensive coordinator over there. I think Jonathan Allen fits that system pretty well. Donnie out of Alabama, defensive end, kind of really, or tackle, I'm sorry, really kind of fits their system. I think he's kind of just a fit here for them at 3.
Yeah, no, I would agree in that situation. Chicago Bears need some defense on that end of the spectrum. If you've watched any game list, I mean, they're a 3-13 football team. They need a lot of help. At these points, I always like to say, Jeff, when the team is bad and when you're drafting that high and you're bad, you like to take guys that are safer, can't miss type players that are going to play for you for 5 to 10 years and not be a marker. Because you know as well as I do, Jeff, if you whiff when your team stinks on a draft pick, it's like the worst case scenario. So almost going a little bit safer, it might be the better route in that instance. And you can't go wrong taking a kid like Jonathan Allen at that spot because to me, he's not a bustable type player. He's going to be a plug and play type kid.
Yeah, I mean, you throw him in with, an Eddie Goldman, a Pernell McPhee. They have some guys in the back end with Adrian Amos and Kyle Fuller, some decent quarterbacks that they drafted a couple years ago. They brought Mike Glennon in thinking he's going to be the guy. They have a guy in Jordan Howard who I think could be a pretty damn good running back in this league. We forget Kevin White was injured last year for them. They brought in Kendall Wright from Tennessee. So, Marcus Wheaton as well. So I think this defensive line could be really good again, and I think he's a fit at 3 for them. 4, Jacksonville Jaguars, Donnie. And if you've read anything about this team, it's time to maybe make a little bit of a run here with some offense.
Yeah.
And Maurice Jones-Drew, they haven't really had much until him. They got rid of Julius Thomas. They need a playmaker. I considered certain people. I'm going to go Leonard Fournette here. I just think he's a fit for them. They need kind of a bruiser, a running back, someone that they can give the ball to and say, make a play for us. I don't know. What are your thoughts here on this one?
Yeah, no, I think over the past couple of years, Jacksonville did a very good job with trying to assemble some defensive talent, which they do have some pieces over on that side of the ball. Now it's time to spend a little bit more to try to get the quarterback some help. Was never a big fan of Blake Bortles. The jury is still out on him, but you have to surround him, obviously, just by watching him play with more talent. I think the defense has enough to compete, but I agree with you. I don't think Fournette's such a bad play at that point. Again, the bust ability of Fournette, I don't think is very high. I think if you take him, he will be productive at that position. I don't think you're going to have to go after like a Marshawn Lattimore, or maybe if you're going to get rid of Julius Thomas, as you said, they're making a trade there or going up and getting O.J. Howard, I think might be a little bit too early in that situation, but I can see it there. I don't think you go wide out because I think they have some young studs, Allen Robinson and whatnot on that side. So I think Fournette would make a lot of sense for them.
Yeah, you look at, T.J. Yeldon, a nice player, not a starter, definitely a kind of a backup. Chris Ivory's getting old. Donnie, question I have, when do you kind of put Blake Bortles under the microscope?
He's already under the microscope for me. I didn't like him when he came out of college.
When do you make the decision that he's not your guy? Because, I don't think quarterback is necessary for them this year, but I think at some point they have to look that way because
no, you do. I guess when that overall rookie contract is up and you're going to really invest big time money, because even if you're not a top flight quarterback, as long as you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, that's a lot of pay that you're going to have to assign to that position. So I think when it comes around time, like we look at like Kirk Cousins in Washington, where every single year now it's 22, 23, 24 million. and you don't really know if you're going to get that production for the actual dollar sign. It's the same way with Blake Bortles. Once that contract gets a little bit closer, they're going to have to make a decision on that.
Yeah, agreed. I think this is running back. It has to be running back here, and I think Fournette's their guy. I would be shocked if they don't take a running back. I really would, because you look at their team. They kind of have to – they need to bolster the backfield. Andrew, I took the Spurs. I said that. Second half -4. I'll get to the Mahomes talk. A lot of stuff about the guy Patrick Mahomes. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Yep. Donnie, number 5, a guy that I think is shooting up the draft boards. I got to tell you, I would not mind him on the Philadelphia Eagles, to be honest. I think he is a dynamic player. I don't think he was used in the right system in college. He's an offensive player. Do you have any idea where I'm going here at 5?
Wasn't used in the right situation?
Yes.
As an offensive player.
Correct. Shooting up the draft boards. I think him on the Eagles, I think, would be absolutely dynamic. It won't happen.
You're saying he was like miscast as a player on his team?
Yes, I don't think he was in the right system at all.
Who would that be?
I'm going to go with O.J. Howard.
Really?
You could tell me he was in the right
cast?
Yeah, I don't think he was.
I mean, he's not in a pass-happy system, but the kid
didn't get the ball enough. He's a dynamic player, very dynamic. Look at him. He runs a 4.5 40. He's Jimmy Graham in the making.
I mean, I love the physical attributes and tools, but I mean, in that type of situation, I mean,
I think he would have been better suited in a different system. I guess maybe you could say. I don't think he got the ball near enough.
Yeah, they had I mean, it's hard with Alabama though, because most of the time, second half, you're on the bench and you're not even needing to throw the ball. You got dynamic weapons all over there, so maybe a little bit of more of a hidden gem there. But I see the upside and the talent in that situation because
I love this.
A lot of people, getting back to your Eagles point, Zach Ertz and O.J. Howard double tight end set, like New England was trying to kick in there.
Up over the top with Alshon and Torrey Smith. I mean, what a nightmare that would be. But yeah, I think at 5, I think the Titans, you got to give Marcus Mariota some weapons. Obviously, you drafted Tajay Sharp, who I think is a pretty damn good receiver out of UMass. He was a really good receiver in college. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to continue to grow as a receiver. Rashard Matthews, decent player as well. I think,
they got the ground and pound going already on that team.
Yeah,
so they got that situation
with DeMarco and Derrick Henry. I agree 100%. I think if you could throw in O.J. Howard, I think that's a fantastic addition to your offense. A guy that can really kind of become the typical tight end nowadays in the NFL. Again, a tight end in this time in the NFL, they don't need to particularly block anymore. It's not really certain tight end. I mean, Zach Ertz, when does he ever block? I mean,
exactly. No, that Brent Selleck with the Eagles, that Jason Witten, that complete tight end, that's sort of out the window. It's more of get out wide and make some plays out there because it's obviously a passing league more than it is a running league. But yeah, that two-way tight end is very hard to find now.
Yeah, I can't believe. I mean, he's such a nightmare. I mean, what? And Doug makes a great point. Who's going to cover him? I mean, he's Jimmy Graham. I mean, he's Jimmy Graham. Aaron Hernandez, rest in peace, I guess you could say. But he is those guys. And with a guy like Mariota, I think he could be and he runs a 4.5 40 for credit.
Picture him running down the seam, opening up the middle, and drawing safety help. You're right.
I wish in the right world the Eagles could somehow get him. I mean, that would just be fantastic.
You think he's going to go that early though in the top 5?
I do. I could see. I think he's one of those guys that I think is really going to kind of like Hassan Reddick has done, kind of rolling up the draft boards. I really like this kid, O.J. Howard. Number 6, New York Jets. The time has come, Donnie. It's time to address your problems. The New York Jets, you look at this team right now, Donnie, in the last 10 years, just went through quarterbacks year after year. They've swung and missed at so many quarterbacks. You look at Eric Decker, Matt Forte. They have some offensive options. I'll tell you one thing, though. Josh McCown's not the answer. I think they go Deshaun Watson at 6. I think he's the second quarterback taken. I think this is a guy that maybe can be your Derek Carr. Maybe he can be that type of player for you. I think they have to go and get a quarterback. We say it every year, and they strike out. I think defensively – they have some issues, but that's something in the later rounds you can address. They still have some solid players up front, Leonard Williams, Wilkerson. You look on the back end, linebacker Darren Lee, you got Calvin Pryor. the problem they don't have is they need a quarterback. This Bryce Petty, Josh McCown, Ryan
Hackenberg, they're
come on.
up a
Go
up
get
the
a
creek, so to
quarterback.
say.
I think Deshaun Watson will.
I could see that in that instance. Now, do you go ahead? How about, taking maybe if a wide receiver is still there, like a Mike Williams or even a Corey Davis at that point, because you did lose Brandon Marshall, who went over to the New York Giants, looking for some weapons there. But I can see your point, and I don't know where he's kind of the wild card in the draft, isn't he, a quarterback?
He is. And
there's a lot he's going yet. And if you remember, Jeff, last year, after the national title game, which Alabama won, everybody was saying, we got a tank for this kid. We got a tank. We got to get him at number 1. Now he sort of falls back to that middle of the pack where just about anybody in the league looks like they can reach up and get him.
And I think that's fine. I think that's, I don't think he cares too much. I think he's going to be a guy that will really be a great player in the league. I think he's kind of being slept on a little bit. He might be the best quarterback in this draft, to be honest. I think the Jets pick him, and I think they succeed here. He played at Alabama. He had every chance to succeed. Dude, they didn't throw to him. What are you talking about? I mean, you can't tell me they didn't use him enough. Stop thinking that just because he didn't get looks in college, he's not going to do anything in the NFL. He's a specimen. He's a nightmare matchup.
Yeah, in the NFL, I mean, you have to think again with college. It's a completely different offense. It's about your measurables and how you match up, because we've seen great cornerbacks at 5'7" and 5'8". We've seen great wide receivers who run like, a 4.75, who, again, you just can't make in the league. His measurables will tell you that he's going to be able to be a matchup nightmare. And I saw in the chat box, I don't know who said it there, he's never going to be, or he can't be a Jimmy Graham. Let's not forget, like, Jimmy Graham played his senior year of college football as his first season. He wasn't the super dominant guy because he was just learning the game, but his measurables let you know at the next level he was probably going to be a force. That's the same thing with Howard. The dude can run, he can catch, he knows how to play football. He's not just, your front running type guy. Let's see what we can do. He's a legitimate tight end threat. He's going to be all right in the NFL.
Put Jimmy Graham on Oregon or something like that. Perfect. Fantastic.
By the way, big man, I hate to cut you off here. 101.94 OKC. So this is coming right down. I believe, when it close at 7.5. You got 30 seconds to go. 101.94 Houston. And it looks like they're going to the line. So this is going to be a good one coming down to anybody who has that line straight up in this situation.
And you also look at another point. Great point, Ryan. I mean, and this is no disrespect, but it's not like Alabama has like really churned out quarterbacks year after year over the last 4 or 5 years, have they? I mean,
no, Alabama's been. I always joke about that, saying if Nick Saban could find, which again, if you watch the spring game,
if he could get a big time quarterback, right?
The Hawaiian kid who looked pretty good in that. Can you imagine if the best quarterback prospect in the country turned out to be like Sam Darnold? Like if Sam Darnold was on Alabama, like what would that be?
Yeah,
thank goodness. Just to get these kids to Alabama, because otherwise it would just be unfair.
Yeah, it would be a factory, man. It would really be unreal. But yeah, we'll end the discussion on OJ Howard. Biago 6, Deshaun Watson 7, LA Chargers. I think the Chargers have to address the secondary, Donnie. Yeah. This secondary has been poor. I also think they can maybe go wide receiver here. They've had some issues with injuries. Keenan Allen among the names I'm talking about. I'll go Jamal Adams here from LSU at 7. I think they need a hard-hitting safety, an Eric Weddle type. Jamal Adams, good-looking kid, big hitter. I think they have to go safety here.
Yeah, great kid, smart by all accounts. A high riser there in the draft. And again, a very safe play where you possibly can look at 3, 4, 5 Pro Bowls, down the line. He's that type of good in that situation. So again, I like that pick for the Chargers. I think that would make a lot of sense there.
Yeah, good bloodlines too. His dad played in the league as well. Comes from a good system. And from what I understand, when Les Miles was let go, he was kind of one of the key leaders in the locker room. So yeah, good guy you want on your team. I think you'll help them right away, especially in a division that is getting better. I mean, obviously with Oakland and Denver, you're gonna need a secondary there. So
yep.
We'll go Jamal Adams at 7. 8, Panthers. Interesting team here. They obviously need a running back. I mean, how long are you going to continue to go with Jonathan Stewart and people like that? They could definitely go with a running back here. They could take Christian McCaffrey possibly. I think if he's going to go, this might be the option here.
Yeah.
I'll go Solomon Thomas. I think you pair him with Charles Adams. That's a pretty damn good defensive line right there. Defensively, they're good.
I love Solomon Thomas. I mean, if you go no further, people out there, than just popping on the bowl game where they played in El Paso versus Mitch Trubisky, he was an absolute animal, which, again, rose him up the same way, a couple years ago.
Wow. Great point.
Of other players. I mean, he was unbelievable in that game, just completely stood out. And the measurables check out. He's from Stanford. He's a smart kid. Again, one of those guys, if you're going to take him into the top 10, Jeff, very low bust quality on this kid. I love the pick.
Yeah, I think the only reason I didn't have him going sooner, and I'll be honest, I could see him going too, to be frank with you. But I think wherever he goes, he's going to be a really good pro. He's going to be a really safe pick. You mentioned in that, I forget what bowl it was, but he was a
Sun
man.
Bowl down in El Paso. He was unbelievable in that game. I mean, he literally was wrecking every single play all by himself. It was fun to watch. Yeah.
He ended the game for them, I believe. He sacked Trubisky at the end. Yeah, he's fantastic. I think it'll be you mentioned him on the Carolina Panthers with, Charles Johnson and Coney Ely and that linebacking core.
Yeah, I mean, they get after it. Yeah, that's a good point there. Yep.
I could see maybe the Panthers they need to address the cornerback situation at some point as well. They have a horrible secondary. That will be probably addressed in the later rounds. Yep. Keep us updated, obviously, Donnie, on that NBA game. 9 seconds left.
4-point game. Yep, 9.9 to go. I believe Houston is going to inbound the basketball from what I'm seeing there.
So I mean, barring a miracle, Thunder are going to cover here.
Yeah, because, again, this isn't college basketball where there's 0.8 seconds and you're down 10 and they're hacking your head off.
Let's go to number 9, Donnie, the Cincinnati Bengals. And, guys, again, we're only going through 16 tonight. We're not going to do the whole draft. We'll get to the rest tomorrow. Number 9, Cincinnati Bengals, a team that – again, I wonder how Marvin Lewis is still the coach of this team. I mean, when is that going to end?
I don't know. I guess they like to keep signing like 1-year deals, and I know Brown, the owner, is so cheap. He figures if he fires the head coach with any more than like 2 years, he's going to have to get rid of all the assistants. He doesn't want to spend the money. That's just the MO of the Brown regime over there in Cincinnati. But that's why he's the head coach. Yeah, it's
just like, what a shit show. I mean, how many years in a row do you have to just fail for it's like, you know what? Yep. Let's make something. Let's do something else. 9 here. I think they're another team that's kind of lacking up front on the defensive side of the football. Obviously, getting older, guys are moving on. They're a team that throughout the years has been good defensively, struggled a little bit last year, had some issues, had some holes. I think this is Derek Barnett here at 9. I could see Hassan Reddick as well, but I think Derek Barnett's a little bit safer of a pick. I think maybe other than Solomon Thomas, Donnie, he could be the best edge rusher in the draft. I know Ray Didinger is very high on Derek Barnett, our friend Ray Didinger. I go Derek Barnett here if I'm the Bengals. I think you need to bolster that front line there. I like Derek Barnett a lot. A good, tough player out of Tennessee. Had a really good year last year.
Yeah, another guy that would fit directly in with that, bone-crushing style of play that you like to have in that AFC division, and that's going to be Reuben Foster out of Alabama. I know he had the diluted sample, and I believe he was even, kicked out of the combine. But if you watch him today, he doesn't come off as that type of kid that would be a problem, but I just love a playmaker in the middle. They need a little bit of help at linebacker. I think that would be a great one. I'm actually hoping for my Eagles' sake that, I don't know if they would take him, but I would love for him to be left around that 14th pick because I think he's a stone-cold playmaker, and he's going to have a good career in the NFL.
You're talking Barnett or?
No, the linebacker. Yeah, exactly, Reuben Foster. I love him.
I actually have him here in a little bit, which I'll talk about. 10, Buffalo. I think Mike Williams goes here at 10. They've had some real issues, this team, with obviously Sammy Watkins is – it seems like he's hurt all the time, though. It seems like every time I look, Sammy Watkins is hurt. You look at other than Sammy Watkins, what the hell do they have for playmakers? Corey Brown.
And again, it's so funny, too, because I know where you're going with. You might want to look at a wide receiver for the Bills. You figured when you traded your whole draft for Sammy Watkins that you wouldn't have to draft another wide receiver for quite a bit. You had that wrapped up. Maybe you can work in some of the younger kids. But, here you are again. Just can't trust the guy. And you're right back and possibly picking a wide receiver high.
And you know what? You throw him in with Sammy Watkins, with LaShawn McCoy, with
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor,
Yep.
but pretty decent offensive line and a pretty good defense. And you got a pretty damn good Buffalo Bills team, a team that's going to get better. Obviously, moved on from the Rex Ryan shit show. Who is their new coach, by the way? I forget.
It's McDermott. Came from Philadelphia
Oh,
down to Carolina to
oh,
Buffalo.
McDermott.
Yeah.
Good call. A
Yeah.
defensive guy. I think, though, he goes offense here. Maybe a Corey Davis here, but I think it's Mike Williams for them. I think Mike Williams really could turn into a Calvin Johnson type of player. Kind of, he doesn't, don't hear much from him. He just kind of gets the job done. Good receiver, really solid career. They need that up in Buffalo, and they deserve that as fans. Where are we going? 12, back to Cleveland. I think they addressed the secondary. I'll go Malik Hooker from Ohio State University.
You left out the Saints, big man, at 11.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. Let's go with the New Orleans Saints, who brought in Adrian Peterson today, by the way. 11, Marshawn Lattimore, I'll go. Cornerback. I think the Saints
Need help there.
Yeah, they need to improve in the secondary sorely. This was a bad secondary over the last couple of years. That group, the NFC is only getting stronger receiver-wise. They need to focus on a cornerback. I think Marshawn Lattimore is probably one of the better cornerbacks in this draft. I think he goes here. Antonio Brown went to Central Michigan. I'll go Lattimore here. 12 Browns. I'll go back to that. Malik Hooker. They need to address the secondary as well. Joe Hayden. That's really all they have anymore. Got to get younger. I'll go Malik Hooker. Safety.
No, I agree with you. 13, you got the Arizona Cardinals, Jeff, needs, you want to say quarterback after a while, but I don't know if you have one on the board, but certainly.
But you can't go with Patrick Mahomes this early. You would agree with that. You can't take a shot there. And I think Palmer can give you another year or two. I don't think you have to go right now. Yeah. For me, I'm going to go Marlon Humphrey. Pair him with Patrick Peterson. I think you got a pretty damn good group of cornerbacks there. Throw in the Honey Badger at safety. I like Marlon Humphrey here. Another Ohio State cornerback. What a group of cornerbacks they had. My God.
You know who else would fit a good spot in this? Hassan Reddick would fit out there too if he's not off the board yet.
Yeah,
Arizona Cardinals. I really think he would.
It's interesting. One of their bloggers actually wrote an article the last couple of days about that. He's kind of an unknown, obviously way out there on the West Coast, but I think he could really fit here as well as a linebacker. Doug Raymond to tomorrow. You're a wannabe Skip Bayless. That's funny. That's so true. That is so true.
We got Chatbox on Chatbox Crime out there, Jeff.
That's funny, though. He really does disagree with everything, though, I have to point out. That's funny. That's really funny, dog. And I don't mean to laugh at him, but that's funny.
And you got to cover Houston 105, OKC 99. So they do cover.
All right.
And the MVP gets his ass kicked 4-1 in the series, goes home as the 6th seed. But that's what you get for an MVP anymore. Worry about the stats. Westbrook's going to tell you in the presser tonight that he's really upset. But keep in mind, as soon as the cameras go off, he's high-fiving everybody because, hey, probably had another good stat night tonight.
He did. I probably went for 50, I would imagine. But by the way, Corey Davis getting some talk here in the chat. If you know me, you know I love Western Michigan all year this year. I was very high on that team. I love Corey Davis. It's just I haven't found a team that would work for him yet. 14, Philadelphia Eagles, Donnie, our squad. And I think we'll spend a little time here. Obviously, you and I both talked. We agree they need to go offense here. They've addressed it in the offseason, bringing in Torrey Smith, bringing in Alshon Jeffrey.
By the way, Jeff, I hate to cut you off on that, but just like I completely agree on offense, and it's a shame to say something against the kid or maybe his future is ruined, but the guy that I hear all the time about that was coming to the Eagles, and if you're on the faction that they have to draft defense there, Garyon Conley getting a supposed sexual assault charge or a rape charge against him no longer should be on the board for the Eagles, which would pave the way for an offensive player, which I've been beating the drum all along for.
Yeah, and as Eagles fans, you and I think we're on the same wavelength with this team. I mean, we know that they need to address the running back position. I mean, they got their receivers. They've done some business, which they still need to do with cornerbacks. But this is such a deep draft as far as corners are concerned. You can address that in the second round. Look, would I like them to get a cornerback? Would I be mad if they did? No, not at all. I think if Christian McCaffrey's there, which I think the only logical place he could go would be Carolina. But if
yeah,
he's
the
not
other
there,
one that they were looking at, Jeff, too, possibly would have been going. I mean, we know New Orleans needs a ton of help, but they'd certainly been looking for playmakers, especially since they lost Darren Sproles. But the fact now that you have Ingram and AP, do you add McCaffrey on top of that? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, they're not going to.
Yeah.
I think that takes them out of the running.
Yep.
Big man, who's your favorite NFL team? I mean, they're about the only professional.
I don't know. Can anybody tell from my screen who my squad is? I don't know either. You know.
Yeah, Donnie and I, that's where we met, man, an Eagles game. Look, if McCaffrey's there, I think he's the decision here.
Again, you need to go offense here. Now, the only thing that's slipping down the draft board, again, would be if you did go defense, if something happens. I know the Eagles were talking about going with Barnett. I would love, if you go defense, there's only one guy I want to see. And if Reuben Foster is still there and they take him, I won't have any problems with it. If they go corner at 14, I'm driving down to the NovaCare complex where the Eagles practice, and I want Howie Roseman to explain to me why he went cornerback. Because it's not, you need to take like a Steelers type of an approach. The very outside of quarterback now, since you already have one, but you have to take the best player available. Gary Conley's not the best player available if he was there at 14. Is he a good quarterback? He might be. But you have to take the best player on the board, whether just take quarterback out of the equation, whether it's a wide receiver, if it's a cornerback. He's not the best.
I agree with you. And I don't think they're going to take a cornerback. I wouldn't be upset though if they.
I would be furious by if they.
I would be upset if they took a linebacker here or something. I don't want. They don't need a linebacker. I don't think right now. They don't need
corners. You need an impact playmaker. Even if you got Reuben Foster, he probably would start from day one. If you got Gary and Conley, he's probably not starting day one. And if he does, what are you going to do? Line him up against Dez Bryant, Odell Beckham? He would get shredded and have to work his way into the equation. You don't want to end up like a D. Milliner or numerous guys that the Cowboys have drafted. In that situation, I want a player that you can step in with. The most important thing for the Philadelphia Eagles right now is getting help for your young quarterback so he can read and make possessions. They added wide receiver, which I like. And to be honest, Jeff, if Corey Davis is still on the board at 14 and the Eagles went Corey Davis, I wouldn't even get upset with that either because you're only adding to the young quarterback's progression. But anybody who knows me, I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. You can sit it back up there. The biggest rivalry that the Hurricanes have is Florida State, and I love Dalvin Cook. If they pick Dalvin Cook, it would make my year. I think he's going to be a stud. I know he has baggage. I know he's a little bit banged up. But to me, he was the single best player in college football last year. Pop on the tape. Florida State is a 500 football team without Dalvin Cook. He is that good, and I would love to see him there. If it's McCaffrey or Dalvin Cook, you have no complaints.
And that's where they're going to go. They're going to go with Dalvin Cook or McCaffrey. If one of them are there, that's who they're going to go with. I don't think we have any issues with that. Listen, if O.J. Howard somehow fell this far, I mean, pick him. My God, I mean, get him on this team. But, yeah, I agree. You're going to have to go running back here. You have to address that. Darren Sproles is getting old. Darren Sproles is a nice, feature player, but he's not a guy you want, as your starter. Wendell Smallwood, nice player, probably not. You need a big name. You need a guy that, is really going to change the pattern of your football team in the backfield. They have the running backs. They have some playmakers at tight end. You got to keep getting him weapons. You can address cornerback. I'll tell you what, Donnie, in the second round, I'd like to see them trying to target if he's there. Give me Adoree Jackson all day, baby.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, we can get to fight on this point all along with the Eagles. If the Eagles, they have to go at 14 to get a playmaker. I wouldn't even care, Jeff. I don't think you would either. What happened second round? Cornerback, third round, cornerback, fourth round, cornerback. They are stacked up in the middle rounds where you could possibly draft 3 cornerbacks and get one really good player that works out and one marginal guy who might be a nickel guy or might work out as like that second or third cornerback on your team. I just didn't want to reach for Gary and Conley. Could he be a good player and work out? Absolutely. But I know there's much better talent sitting at 14 than taking Conley. So him getting hit with that, assault charge, which is terrible. I hope it's not true. But for the Eagles' sake, it's actually good that happened because he's no longer going to be in the equation for the Eagles. Now you need to go ahead and take the best player available. Don't give me that BS like, oh, we had this guy rated up here all along. Take the best player.
What's your thoughts on Cook at the Combine?
I don't see. Again, I love this. This is what brings out the passion and thinking because all along, if I have the Philadelphia Eagles and I have my scouting department, we show up for the meetings, my entire staff, 15 scouts, GM, president, owner, and we interview each and every player. And you know what we do, Jeff? As soon as we interview them, we leave. I don't give a damn about guys running around in shorts. I don't care how fast they can run in the 40 because you train for 2 months where you're trying to improve your time 0.1 or 0.2. You work on your bench press. I don't give a damn about the bench press there. You know, curls are for girls, what they always like to say. If I'm an NFL team, I pop on the tape and I do my background checks to make sure they're a decent human being. But you can't tell me when you pop on a tape there and you see Dalvin Cook running wild out there and then say, well, his 3-cone split wasn't good. His 40 was okay. Pop on the tape. He dominates. Nobody catches him out there. So it's one of those things where I don't put any stake in the combine of how fast you can run or a 3-cone drill.
I couldn't agree more. Donnie, let me ask you something. You got McCaffrey and Cook sitting there. Who are you taking?
Now, it's a hard one because I love Dalvin Cook. But when you break it down there, I think overall the complete package would be Christian McCaffrey. But for some reason, I don't think he's going to be available the same way. I don't think Leonard Fournette's going to be available. I think McCaffrey would fit exactly what the Eagles, Jeff, would be looking for because they would use him for, maybe 5 to 7 touches out of the backfield running the ball, swing passes, screen passes. You can have him return kicks. You can have him return punts. That natural progression, Jeff, that you were talking to with Darren Sproles getting up there. He's the perfect complement to take over and be a great back. The Dalvin Cook injury history, yes, it's a little bit scary. I know he comes with baggage, but if you give me either one of those 2 running backs, I'm happy as hell to be an Eagles fan on Thursday night.
He's going to be Brian Westbrook. You heard it here first.
What? The white Brian Westbrook. How about that?
Yeah, give me a Brian Westbrook, Wes Welker type. That's what he's going to be.
Yep. I know Dog Graham and Cook all day. I beat the drum for Cook the minute that the season ended. I just think he's one of those players, which is hard to get, Jeff. You're on your own 30-yard line. You hand it off to him, and he busts a 70-yarder off for a touchdown, just like Zeke Elliott. I'm not saying he's Zeke Elliott or what he's going to turn into because obviously Dallas's offensive line is out of this world. And he's a fantastic runner, and that's why he was drafted top 5. But anytime you can give somebody a playmaker like that, the unexpected yardage where he just takes it 30 to 40 yards, we missed that. We had that with Shady McCoy. We had that with Deshaun Jackson at wideout. And we've seen over the past couple of years when you don't have those playmakers, it really puts a strain on your quarterback and the entire offense for that matter. Give me a playmaker that can house it at any time. I love Dalvin Cook.
Thur Marino thinks that McCaffrey's a poor man's Reggie Bush. Are we surprised that he doesn't think Christian's going to be any good? Are we surprised by that?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to quantify. I mean, guys can turn out like that, and you see what it is, and they're worried about, his size. Can he take a beating? But he's not going to be asked to take a beating. He's going to be that what they call the satellite back, where you work out there in space. You're not getting teed up. It's not 3rd and 1, and he's coming downhill with no fullback on the goal line up the middle. They're not going to use him in that instance, so I don't think he's going to, get beat up or knocked out of the league or anything like that. But I like the upside on McCaffrey because, again, it's a new game. The kid legitimately can play slot receiver like a real wide receiver, and that's going to be an asset that's hard to pass up. 15,
Indianapolis Colts. I think they're a good running back as well. They've not had a running back since Edgerrin James, it seems like. They have to address that. Give your boy Andrew Luck a little bit of love in the backfield. They have some weapons at the receiver.
And their running back isn't getting any younger, is he, Jeff?
Yeah, Frank Gore's not getting any younger. I think they go with whoever the Eagles don't take. So the Eagles take McCaffrey, they'll go Cook or vice versa. They have to go running back here. No other situation. Maybe defense, but that's something. They're a lot like the Eagles. They have to address their running back and defensive back positions, in my opinion. Number 16, the last pick for tonight, Baltimore Ravens. This is where I think Reuben Foster goes. I think this would be a perfect fit for him. It's all about linebackers down in Baltimore, isn't it, Donnie?
What's that? I'm sorry, you cut out there, big man. What was that?
It's all about linebackers down in Baltimore, isn't it? Isn't that where
born and bred? That's what they like to do. Yeah, yep. Hassan Reddick, again, we keep getting back to there. He would be fantastic in that spot.
He would be, but you look at C.J. Mosley, connection to Alabama, Reuben Foster's connection to Alabama to Ozzie Newsome. I think this is a good fit. Reuben Foster would flourish, I believe, down in Baltimore. A good, solid team, a group that's kind of built linebackers year after year. I think this is a good spot. But Hassan Reddick wouldn't surprise me either, and I think that would be great because we could go down and see him play in Baltimore if we want. Good point from Ryan. Colts need to protect Luck. Cam Robinson might be a good pick. Yeah, good point. Good point on that. They need a little bit of help. Got to keep their prized possession free and safe. But Donnie, I think that was fun. You know, it was fun.
No, we'll get to that bottom end of the draft, but I'm excited because SBR came to me and Jeff and said, "Hey, you guys want to pop on live during the draft?" Knowing that it's in Philadelphia, we're extra excited for it. You know, all the festivities kick off, and again, the Eagles are going to have the 14th pick, and there's a lot of prognostication of which way it can go. So it's going to be nice that we'll be on the air right after pick 10. We'll take a look. There's probably going to be some trades, probably some picks that we didn't think would go, somebody who climbed in there. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I urge all of you, we will be on the air when the Philadelphia Eagles make their selection, which will be
ready
fun.
For me to be pissed off.
Listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love the Philadelphia Eagles. They are my bread and butter. They're the only team as far as other than the Yankees and the Sixers that I really care about in professional sports. I love the Philadelphia Eagles. I've been raised on them. Ryan, who I live with, we love the Eagles. Donnie, you love the Eagles. We are diehard Philadelphia Eagle fans. I'm pumped up about this pick for sure.
No, it should be a lot of fun there. Why don't we head to the gates here, big man, and get to baffle the big man, and then we'll do a wrap up and we'll see what's what with tomorrow.
8-2 Nationals. That over's looking decent right now.
Yeah, it is. Kansas City, who scored in the first inning, looked like we might have something, has gone cold and dead, which is no surprise. They have 2 runs there in the 8th inning, only a guy on. So looks like that's going to be dead in the water. It's one of those times where maybe the contrarian value was not actually there. So we'll see if we can pull out a miracle. But if not, we'll move on, see if we can find another one tomorrow. The original one that I liked today was the Yankees, but that game did get rained out. So we'll see if we can come back and stab a winner and tomorrow. Let's go over here. Looks like Brian Tansey chimes in from the good country of Ireland. And let me see what we have here for us. He's saying here, I'm digging out some of my old quizzes and have a bit more volume in the next coming weeks. A lot of questions will be Ireland specific, Jeff.
I know Ireland. I'm a good Irish man. I'm not Irish, but I brushed up on my Irish stuff, so I'll be fine.
Let me take a look here with the hashtag and see how it goes there. Any updates you want to go over, Jeff? Why find this year with baseball and stuff?
I can. Let me take a look here. I know the Giants are threatening against Clayton Kershaw. It looks like they have, let's see here. That one's going to the bottom of the 3rd. So they got out of that threat, or maybe they haven't. Maybe it's still going. I'm not even looking at it. I've been concentrating on the draft stuff. Arizona up 6-1 in the that same position, Donnie, they were in last night. Big. We'll see if the bullpen can hold. Bottom 4 in Oakland. Angels, that one scoreless. Toronto, they lead 5-4. And the White Sox continue.
Yeah, White Sox are laying beat down on Kansas City again. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look here. I got Brian Tansey's questions up. Hashtag LNOC. In which sport would you compete for the following trophies and cups? The Calcutta Cup we'll start with.
Is that the only question or
no? There's a couple. I guess there's 4 of them that he has here, but that was the first one. Which sport would you compete for the following trophies and cup? The first one was the Calcutta Cup.
Cricket.
Looks like I believe it's rugby.
Okay.
Next one is the Webb Ellis Cup.
Rugby.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah,
I think they're all rugby, man.
Triple Crown Trophy.
That's rugby.
Yeah, I guess they all are. And the Betislow Cup.
That's rugby also.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to read when these questions come in like that. So, oh, well, I guess they would be all rugby on that one. Hashtag LNOC. Alec Baldwin, Harrison Ford, Ben Affleck, Chris Pine have all played this character in different movies. Ford played him in 2.
Jack Ryan.
Yes, Jack Ryan, you are correct. Let's see what we got here. And we'll go to CC Fitness. Hashtag LNOC. NBA nicknames. Number 1, Agent Zero.
Gilbert Arenas.
Number 2, Skip to my Lou.
One of the best. Ray Alston, one of the best.
Yep, absolutely. Number 3, Thunder.
Thunder.
Yeah, let me check this one out. Let me get to the DMs on this one.
Thunder.
Yeah,
I don't know who that would be.
Oh yeah, good one. It would be his first name is Thunder, then the Thunder comes before the name, and then his full name. It was in the played with Charles Barkley in the 1990s. He's a current coach. There you go. Yep. There you go. Yep.
I got it.
Next one we'll go over here is 3D. I got that one back from the 90s. These are 90s guys.
3D?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Dennis Scott, Orlando Magic.
Okay.
Number 4. Let's see. Maybe skip them. Or the next one is Mad Dog.
Mark Madsen.
Yeah, bum player. Yep. Number 6, Big Country.
Bryant Reeves.
Bryant Reeves, absolutely, man.
That white
I saw him practice in the Elite 8 in Newark back at the what's now, I guess, the Izod Center back in the day in Newark.
That's fun. Bryant Reeves, he played for the Grizzlies. Big white.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State. Hashtag LNOC. In the movie Coming to America, Randy Watson and his band Sexual Chocolate perform what song at the fundraiser?
I don't know. No
I
idea.
believe the children are the future. Feed them well and let them lead the way.
I don't even remember.
Show them all the beauty they possess inside.
I haven't seen that movie in a while.
I think they're making a remake of that movie coming up too.
There you go.
Next one here. Let's see what we got here.
Question.
Let's see if we got any more.
Mike LNOC, Mike Francesa or SC6? Definitely Mike Francesa. I don't hate.
Yeah.
I
like to laugh. Mike Francesa gives me a lot of laughs. So
I don't hate Francesa like I hate the 6 people. I actually listen to
I hate the 6 people. I just don't like that concept of the overall show.
Yeah, me either.
Let's see. We got Junior chiming in at Junior 88423. We got a couple of them here. We might be on until midnight. Players in colleges. Actually, that was last night's. Oh, we got it again tonight.
All right.
Rodney Stuckey.
Eastern Washington.
Yep. AC Law, one of my favorite guys.
Texas A&M.
Yep. Jared Dudley.
BC.
Yep. Steve Novak.
Sharpshooter.
I actually wouldn't have got that one.
Marquette.
Yep, Marquette. Booby Gibson, otherwise known as LeBron's right-hand man.
Texas.
Yep, absolutely. And Pascal Siakam. Saikam. Am I pronouncing that right?
Siakam.
Yeah.
New Mexico State.
New Mexico State. In The Wire, what was the bar called in season 2 the Polish workers went to, and what was the bartender's name?
The bartender's name was Dolores, and the bar was. I've actually been to this bar. It's no longer a bar. Actually, it's actually townhomes now. It's called Clement Street Cafe.
Yes, it was.
That's a very underrated season, by the way. I know a lot of people don't like season 2. I think it's such an underrated season. It's one of my favorites in that show.
People liked when the kids got introduced, Jeff. Those are the good seasons.
Sure. Of course.
There were 2 fights of the year in 2002 and 2003 between the same fighters. Who were they?
Repeat the question?
There were 2 fights of the year in 2002 and 2003 between the same fighters. Yeah. Who were those fighters?
Mickey Ward. And Arturo Gatti. And it was fights 1 and 3.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of Arturo Gatti's last fights, the Mickey Ward trilogy. That was, Wars. Total.
Yep, they had what was the box? Not the box. Was it the box or what was the Marky Mark movie? Which was about Mickey
Fighter.
Ward. The Fighter. There you go. Yep. Since 2007, Floyd Mayweather has knocked out 2 fighters. Who were they? Someone knocked out 2. How about that?
Yeah, he doesn't knock out many people. Ricky Hatton.
Yeah, he embarrassed Ricky Hatton.
And Victor Ortiz, which Victor Ortiz, it was questionable because he
coming together in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, he shook his hand. Yeah, it was kind of cheap, but that was he doesn't knock many people out. Not many knockouts, and most of them were TKOs. Like TKO'd Ricky Hatton. The true knockout was Victor Ortiz, though.
Yeah. Yep.
Great.
That is it for the night on that part of it. You got any parting shots? Oh, by the way, tomorrow we are going to be on the roundtable, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so check us out there. Any football shows for you tomorrow, big man? Soccer?
No, I'm on Thursday. I'm going to be joining the Bankroll group. We're going to be going over all the big games this weekend. I'm on for Stewart, who's not going to be on. I'll be joining that group, so look out for me Thursday. Name 3 Syrian rebel groups. ISIS, Al-Nusra, and Al-Shabaab, I believe. I think there's 3.
What's the People's Revolution over there? What are they called?
The Free Syrian Army.
There you go. What are the white hats called there, Jeff? What are
The
they?
white helmets.
The white helmets. There you go.
Yeah, so I'll be on that Thursday. I'm not sure what time it is, but tomorrow, yep, we'll be on the roundtable.
Yep.
And looking forward to that. It's always fun talking about sports with those great guys, Drew Martin and Ian Cameron. So look out for that. Great show tonight, guys. We'll work to get Ed Fang on tomorrow night, maybe to talk a little NFL draft as well. We'll get you prepared for Thursday with the NFL draft. So everyone have a great night. We'll be back early tomorrow at 12:30 on the roundtable. Have a great night. Bye-bye.